to Gokul Global University e-learning. Today's topic is thyristor. I have divided this presentation into parts. That is, for in this presentation we will see the part 1. In current presentation, the focus is given to the following points, that is introduction to the thyristor, static current voltage characteristic of a thyristor, modes of thyristor conduction, thyristor turn-on methods, latching and halting current of thyristor, two transistor model of a thyristor. In 1957, the thyristor were invented in Bell Laboratory, and this is called the real era of modern power electronics. A thyristor has a characteristic similar to that of a thyristor tube, but from the construction viewpoint, a thyristor is a PNPN device, belongs to a transistor family. The name thyristor is derived by a combination of the capital letters from thyraton and transistor. This means that the thyristor is a solid state device like a transistor and has characteristic similar to that of a thyraton tube. A thyristor is a 4-layer 3-terminal or 3-junction PNPN semiconductor switching device. It has 3 terminals: anode, cathode and gate. Gives a constructional details of a typical thyristor. You can see diagram number A. Basically, a thyristor consists of 4 layers of alternate p-type and n-type silicon semiconductor forming 3 junctions J1, J2 and J3. The threaded portion is for the purpose of tightening the thyristor to the frame or heat sink with the help of a nut here. Gate terminal is usually kept near the cathode terminal. As shown in figure. Schematic diagram and a circuit symbol of a thyristor area are shown in figure. The terminal connected to the outer P region is called anode. The terminal connected to outer N region near is called cathode. This is cathode terminal, and that is connected to the inner P region is called the gate terminal. For a large current application, thyristor needs better cooling. This is achieved to a great extent by mounting them onto heat sinks. SCR rating has improved considerably since its introduction in 1957. Now SCR of voltage rating 10 kilowatts and an RMS current rating of 3000 ampere with corresponding power handling capacity of 30 megawatts are available. Such a high power thyristor can be switched on by a low voltage supply of about 1 ampere and 10 watt, and this gives us an idea of immense power amplification capability in the ratio of 3 into 10 raised to 6 of a device. A thyristor are solid state devices. They are compact, possess high reliability and have low losses. Because of these useful features, SCR is almost universally employed this day for all high power controlled applications. And SCR is so called because silicon is used for its construction and its operation as a rectifier. A very low resistance in the forward conduction and a high resistance in the reverse direction can be controlled. Like the diode, and SCR is an unidirectional device that blocks the current flow from cathode to anode. Unlike the diode, the thyristor also blocks the current flow from anode to cathode until it is triggered into conduction by a proper gate signal between the gate and the cathode terminals. This is the circuit symbol you can see here. anode, cathode and gate terminals. There are the three terminals we can see. Now we will proceed towards the IV characteristic of a thyristor. You can see here the diagram of elementary circuits for obtaining VI characteristics. The reverse blocking mode. Let us consider the anode terminal negative with respect to cathode terminal and the gate circuit is open. In these conditions, the junction J1 and J3 are in the reverse bias, but junction J2 in the forward bias. This is the condition of reverse blocking mode. And if we are considering the forward bias conditions, let us make anode positive with respect to cathode and the gate circuit consider it's open. Then the junction J1 and junction J3 will be in forward bias and junction J2 in the reverse bias. We will go in this later on. There are the three modes: reverse blocking mode, forward blocking mode and the forward conduction mode. We will see all mode one by one. Let us say reverse blocking mode we consider first. When the cathode is made positive with respect to anode with switch S open, here we can see the switch S open, a thyristor is a reverse bias as shown in figure. Junction J1 and J3 are seen to be reverse bias, whereas junction J2 is forward bias. The device behaves as a two diodes are connected in a series with reverse voltage applied across them. A small leakage current of the order of a few milliampere will flow. This is reverse blocking mode called the off state of the thyristor. The reverse blocking mode is shown by the OP. If the reverse voltage is increased, then at a critical breakdown level called the reverse breakdown voltage VBR. We will see it in a next diagram. Here we can see an avalanche breakdown occurs at J1 and J3 and the reverse current increases rapidly. A large current associated with the VBR gives rise to more losses in the SCR. This may lead to thyristor damage as the junction terminal may exceed its permissible limits or permissible temperature rise. It should therefore be ensured that maximum working reverse voltage across a thyristor does not exceed VBR. Reverse avalanche region is shown by PQ. When reverse voltage applied across a thyristor is less than VBR, the device offers a high impedance in the reverse direction. The SCR in the reverse blocking mode may therefore be treated as an open switch. Let us see a forward conduction mode. Forward blocking mode, when anode is made positive with respect to cathode with the gate circuit open, thyristor is said to be in forward bias. It is seen from this figure that junction J1 and J3 are forward bias, but junction J2 is reverse bias. In this mode, a small current called the forward leakage current flows as shown in figure. In OM represents the forward blocking mode of SCR. As the forward leakage current is small, SCR offers a high impedance. Therefore, a thyristor can be treated as an open switch even in the forward blocking mode. Then the forward, let us see a forward conduction mode. When the anode to cathode forward voltage is increased with gate circuit open, reverse bias junction J2 will have an avalanche breakdown at a voltage called a forward breakover voltage or VBO. After this breakdown, a thyristor gets turned on with point M at once shifting to N and then to point anywhere between the N to K. Let us say here, consider it's N and this is K. And to K, NK presents the forward conduction mode. A thyristor can be brought from the forward blocking mode to forward conduction mode by turning it on by applying a positive gate pulse between the gate and the cathode or a forward breakover voltage across the anode and cathode. Forward conduction mode NK shows that the voltage drop across thyristor is of the order of 1 to 2 volts depending upon the rating of SCR. It may also be seen from NK that voltage drop across SCR increases slightly with an increase in anode current. In conduction mode, anode current is limited by load impedance alone as the voltage drop across SCR is quite small. This small voltage drop across VT, the device is due to the ohmic drop in the 4 layers. In forward conduction mode, thyristor is treated as a closed switch. These concepts can be more easily understood by the turning on methods of a thyristor. Let us say if the anode positive with respect to cathode, a thyristor can be turned on by any of the following techniques. There are forward voltage triggering, gate triggering, dV by dt triggering, and temperature triggering and light triggering are the different methods. Consider this diagram again. The characteristic again. Forward voltage triggering. When forward voltage is applied between the anode and cathode with gate circuit open, junction J2 is reverse bias. As a result, depletion layer is formed across the junction J2. The width of this layer decreases with the increase in anode cathode voltage. If forward voltage across anode cathode is gradually increased, a stage comes when the depletion layers across J2 vanishes. At this moment, reverse bias junction J2 is said to be have avalanche breakdown, and the voltage at which it occurs is called a forward breakover voltage or VBO. The name forward breakover voltage is given because at this voltage VBO, IV characteristics breaks over and shifts to its own state position with breakover current IBO. At this voltage, thyristor changes from off-state high voltage with the low leakage current to on-state characterized by low voltage across thyristor with large forward current. As other junctions characteristic by low voltage across thyristor with large forward current. As other junctions J1, J3 are already forward bias, breakdown of junction J2 allows free movement of carriers across 3 junctions, and as a result, large forward anode current flows. As stated above before, this forward current is limited by the load impedance. In practice, the transition from off-state to on-state obtained by exceeding VBO is never employed, and it may destroy the devices. The gate triggering. Turning on the thyristor by gate triggering is simple, reliable, and efficient. It is therefore the most useful method of firing the forward bias SCR. A thyristor with the forward breakover voltage, say 800 volts, higher than the normal working voltage, say 400 volts is chosen. This means that the thyristor will remain in the forward blocking state with the normal working voltage across anode and cathode and with the gate open. However, when turn on of a thyristor is required, a positive gate voltage between gate and cathode is applied. With gate current thus established, charges are injected into the inner P layer and voltage at which the forward breakover occurs is reduced. The forward voltage at which the device switches to on-state depends on the magnitude of gate current. Higher the gate current, lower is the forward breakover voltage. When the gate current, positive gate current is applied, gate P layer is flooded with the electron from the cathode. This is because the cathode N layer is heavily doped and compared to gate P layer. As the thyristor is forward bias, some of these electrons reach junction J2. As a result, width of the depletion layer near junction J2 is reduced. This causes the junction J2 to break down at an applied voltage lower than the forward breakover voltage or VBO. If magnitude of gate current is increased, more electrons would reach junction J2. As a consequence, a thyristor would get turned on at much lower forward voltage. Once the SCR is conducting a forward current, reverse bias junction J2 no longer exists. As a result, no gate current is required for device to remain in on state. Therefore, when the current is removed, the conduction of the current from anode to cathode remain unaffected. However, if gate current is reduced to zero before the rising anode current attains a value called the latching current. Let us look at here what are the latching and holding currents. We will consider it more better. If the gate as such, no gate current is required for the device to remain in on state. If the gate current is removed, the conduction of current from anode to cathode remains unaffected. Keep in mind, however, if gate current is reduced to zero before the rising anode current attains a value called the latching current, the thyristor will turn off again. The gate pulse width should therefore be judiciously chosen to ensure that the anode current rises above the latching current. Thus, latching current may be defined as the minimum value of anode current which it must attain during a turn-on process to maintain a conduction when gate signal is removed. Once the thyristor is conducting, gate losses control. The thyristor can be turned off or the thyristor can be returned to forward blocking state only if the forward current falls below a low level current called the holding current. Thus, holding current may be defined as the minimum value of anode current below which it must fall for a turning of the thyristor. Now the third thing, dV by dt triggering. With the forward voltage across the junction across the anode and cathode of a thyristor, the two outer junction J1 and J2 J3 are forward bias, but the inner junction J2 is reverse bias. This reverse bias junction J2 has the characteristic of a capacitor due to charge existing across the junction. In the other words, space charge exists in the depletion region near junction J2 and therefore junction J2 behaves like a capacitance. If forward voltage is suddenly applied, a charge current through junction capacitance Cj may turn on the thyristor. Almost the entire suddenly applied forward voltage Va appears across the junction J2. The charging current Ic is therefore given by Ic is equal to dq by dt, and we know that the d by dt into Cj into Va is equal to Cj dVa by dt plus Va into what dCj by dt. As the junction capacitance is almost constant, dCj by dt is 0 and current Ic is equal to Cj dVa by dt. So therefore, the rate of rise of forward voltage dVa by dt is high. The charging current Ic would be more. The charging current plays the role of the gate current and turns on the thyristor even though gate signal is 0. Note that even if the Va is small, it is the rate of change of Va that plays the role of turning on the devices. The fourth one, temperature triggering. During the forward blocking mode, most of the applied voltage appears across the reverse bias junction J2. This forward voltage J2 associated with the leakage current would raise the temperature of the junction. With the increase in temperature, width of the depletion layer decreases. This further leads to more leakage current and therefore the more junction temperature. With the cumulative process at the some high temperature within the safe limit, depletion layer of reverse bias junction J2 vanishes and the device gets turned on. The fifth one, light triggering. For the light triggered SCR, a recess or the niche is made in the inner P layer as shown in figure. When this recess is irritated, free charges carriers pair of cathode. The pulse of light of appropriate wavelength is guided by optical fibers for radiation. If the intensity of this light thrown on the recess exceeds a certain value of forward bias, SCR is turned on. Such a thyristor is known as a light activated SCR, or in simple terms we are known by LASCR or laser. Laser is may be triggered with the light source or with the gate signal. Sometimes a combination of both light sources and the gate signal is used to trigger an SCR. For this, the gate is biased with the voltage and current or current slightly less than the required to turn it on. Now a beam of light directed at the inner P layer junctions turns on the SCR. The light intensity of required to turn on the SCR depends upon the voltage bias given to the gate. Higher the voltage, lower the light intensity required. Now let us look at a two transistor model of a thyristor. Sometime it is referred to as the two transistor analogy. The principle of thyristor operation can be explained with the use of its two transistor model. So, in figure we can see the schematic diagram of SCR. From this figure, two transistor model is obtained by bisecting the two middle layers along with the dotted line in the two separate halves as shown in figure. In this figure, junction J1, J2 and junction J2, J3 can be considered to constitute a PNP and NPN transistor as shown here. Separately, the circuit representation of the two transistor model of a thyristor is shown in figure. In the off state of a thyristor, collector current IC is related to emitter current IE as IC is equal to alpha IE plus ICBO, where alpha is the common base current gain and ICBO is the common base leakage current of a collector base junction of a transistor. Here IC is the collector current, IE is emitter current, ICBO is forward leakage current, alpha is the common base forward current gain, and the relationship between IC and IB is given by IC is equal to beta IB, where IB is the base current and beta is common emitter forward current gain. Let's for better understanding later for transistor T1 the relationship holds IC1. For transistor T1, emitter current IE, anode current IA, and IC is equal to collector current IC1. Therefore, for transistor 1, IC1 is equal to alpha 1 IA plus ICBO1. Let us give its equation number 1. In this equation, alpha 1 that is common base current gain of transistor 1 and ICBO1 that is common base leakage current of transistor 1. Similarly, we can do it for transistor 2. IC2 is equal to alpha 2 IK plus ICBO2, where alpha 2 is equal to common base current gain of T2 and ICBO2 that is common base leakage current of T2. Here the new term IK is nothing but the current, emitter current of a T2. Now by analysis of two transistor model we can get anode current that is IA is equal to alpha 1 I, or we can simply say that total current in a thus the sum of two collector currents given by equations is equal to the external circuit current IA entering at the anode terminal A. IA is equal to ICA plus IC2. So thus we can see that IA is equal to alpha 1 IA plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 plus alpha 2 IK. Or when the gate current is applied, then IK is equal to IA plus IK. Substituting this value of IK, we can see here IA is equal to alpha 1 IA plus ICBO1 plus IC alpha 2 IA plus IG plus ICBO2. In final terms, we can have IA is equal to alpha 2 IG plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 upon 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. From this relationship we can assure that with the increasing the value of alpha towards unity, the corresponding anode current will increase. Now the question is how increasing. This is the explanation using two transistor model of thyristor. For a silicon transistor, current gain alpha is very low at a low emitter current. With an increase in emitter current, alpha builds up rapidly. With the gate current I is equal to 0 and with the thyristor forward bias alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is very low as per given. Under these conditions, the forward leakage current somewhat more than the ICBO1 plus ICBO2 flows. If by some means the emitter current of two component thyristor can be increased so that alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approaches unity, then as per the final equation IA would tends to become infinity, thereby turning on the device. Actually, external load limits the anode current to a safe value after the thyristor begins conduction. The method of turning on of a thyristor in fact are the method of making alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approach unity. This various mechanism of turning on of a thyristor out given. Thank you. In the next presentation we will see the thyristor protection. the design of number circuit, over voltage protection, over current protection, gate protection, series and parallel operation of a thyristor, thyristor family and other members of thyristor family, their firing circuits, etc. Up till now, if you have any questions, you can just put your question in comment box. We will reach to you soon. Thank you.